Good morning, sunshine. Thank you for joining us with Coffee with Stefani. Today I'm here in Chico, California, the Coffee Ranch, enjoying some Danger Monkey coffee. And I'm here with my friend Sarah.
Hi.
And Sarah and I have been having a little conversation. And the other day I woke up and I had this pressing question that came to my mind. And it's, how are we going to dismantle the loop of poverty in our society and around the world? I don't know how I wake up with these kinds of questions. I don't know where they come from, but these are the kinds of things I think about. So I'm here with my friend Sarah, and I want to know, like, what do you think about that? Like, when I come to you and I say, how are we going to dismantle the loop of poverty? Like, what's the first thing that comes to your mind?
So I've thought about this before as well. Lots and lots and lots and lots of times, especially considering I stayed in San Francisco, which is where I met Stefani, and on my walk to work every day, almost every day, not really every day, when I went to work, 2.5 mile walk, I saw an incredible amount of poverty, and it's kind of like out of sight, out of mind, unfortunately.
There's actually a lot of homelessness right now in the state of California between San Francisco and various cities in California. And so is that what you're referencing?
Yeah.
The homeless population?
It was insane.
Yeah.
The last time I saw something that bad was in Vancouver, Canada, and it was awful. And my answer to it, how do you eradicate poverty? So according to, there's a book called Prometheus Rising, and I don't know where he gets the science from, but I've heard this before. Your brain has different levels of consciousness to it. And when you're stuck at the first level of consciousness, the first level of your mind is, where do I get food? If you can't figure out what your meal is going to be, you can't go to the next level. You can't go to, where am I going to find shelter? All you can think about is, how am I going to eat? All these people that sleep on the street, that beg for money, they want to eat. So my answer to that, one of the many ways, because I'm sure there's tons and tons of ways on how we can, one step at a time, eliminate poverty, eradicate poverty, is for us to grow our own food, is for people to grow our own food. We need to stop being so fucking lazy. I don't know if we're going to be able to swear on this or not, but we need to stop being so lazy. And we need to take responsibility into our own hands, because depending on a system that grows food and puts food in a grocery store where you have to pay for it and you have no idea what's happening to that food beforehand, the kind of chemicals that go on food that's not organic are disgusting. And I use the word disgusting because I'm not allowed to curse, I don't think. So it's awful. It's awful. And you have no idea. Making these super long drives across California, I have seen so much spraying going on crops and stuff like that. And it's awful. If we would all grow one plant in our yard, just one. And now people that had big yards grew lots of plants. Think about this. Part of the reason why I love California is because every single neighborhood I go through, I know there's a possibility that someone's going to be growing stuff, that I can go up and pick an apple or pick an orange or something like that. If no one had to worry about where they were getting their food from, we could move to the next level. We could all start being, we could move to the next level. Instead of this people starving to death bullshit, like, it could all be over. That could be over really fast.
Yeah, so it was interesting. Yesterday we actually went to a block party, and it literally, my parents live on a cul-de-sac, and so it was all of the homes in this cul-de-sac. They all came together. It was like the beginning of summer, and so all of the neighbors got together for this summer barbecue for everybody to introduce themselves. And we were sitting there talking about this idea of like this sharing economy. So imagine if my parents at their home planted a lemon tree, and then their neighbor planted an apple tree, and then their neighbor planted a tomato tree. And imagine if the 30 homes that are all in this like sort of cul-de-sac, each and every person planted 1 to 2 plants on their property, and then they shared these different vegetables and fruits, and then we all came together. This idea that we, drive into our home and go straight into the garage and shut the door. And I have a box of sugar, and Sarah has a box of sugar, and every single neighbor down the street has a box of sugar. What if we were to actually learn to share with one another? I personally believe sharing is caring, and we've gotten away from our core values.
I love you.
It's true.
I know.
These are the things I think about. And it gives me goosebumps because it's like, let's come together. We're Americans in this American society, and we've really become divisive, and that's not the truth of who we really are. It's not the truth of who we are as Americans. It's not the truth of who we are as human beings. And so I invite you to find a way to share with your fellow community members, whether it is planting a lemon tree or planting an apple seed or apple tree.
All it takes is one. All it takes is one. And it's so exciting to look at, to see something in someone else's yard and be like, wow. And it looks like it would take forever, right? It looks like it would take a really long time. It's like, well, they've got an apple tree, but that thing's probably been there for 10 years. 10 years is gonna come. It's gonna happen. One way or another.
What do you tell people that maybe don't have access to land, as an example? So like part of the problem, when you're walking around San Francisco, there's not a lot of land. They're not going to be planting fruit trees.
Got this? Okay.
It's true, right?
Do not throw your seeds away. That's my answer. When you get an apple from the store, you open that apple up, you eat that apple, it has 3, maybe 4 seeds in it, maybe more, maybe less. But what do you do with the core of that apple? You throw it in a non-biodegradable bag that's going to sit in a landfill forever until we figure out what to do about it. Which I think that there was mushrooms.
You would actually think that there was a lot of plants growing in landfills.
No,
right?
because it's so toxic.
That makes sense.
It's so much plastic and it's so much toxic bullshit. There is an answer to this though, and it is mushrooms, but that's for
another conversation,
for a different time. But the answer, if you do not have land and you want to play your part in making this an abundant world where we can all stop starving to death, where kids can stop starving to death, where homeless people can stop worrying about where they're going to eat, where we can stop worrying about it. I don't like worrying about it,
Right. Our goal, I think, is to create an abundant economy. What does an abundant economy look like? And I just want to plant that seed for various conversations when you're talking to your friends and when you're talking to your family. What does an abundant economy look like? How can we as human beings thrive? How can we dismantle the loop of poverty? What does that look like? I just want to open up that conversation, right? And we're going to do our part. So one idea is that when you eat an avocado and you have that seed, when you eat a lemon, when you eat an apple, one solution is to start keeping those seeds and to just scatter them around.
Anywhere. Scatter them anywhere. It doesn't matter where. Something I found out researching, I was researching cannabis, was they were looking into, they found this pyramid, and there was this tomb. These seeds were like 1,200 years old. 1,200. That's a minute. It's a little while. And they sprouted.
1,200 years later, they sprouted?
And they sprouted.
That's so crazy.
So you never know. So you take your lemon seeds and you just throw them outside. You're driving on a bridge and you throw them off the bridge. You are going by some railroad tracks and you throw them by some railroad tracks. You're driving down the street. It doesn't matter. As long as they're outside, at some point in time, that will grow. Even if it's 100 years from now and all of a sudden the conditions become right, it will grow and you will have done your part in making the world somewhere someone can eat. God's so important.
Right.
So you don't need
never
land.
know.
You don't need land. If you want to do and we all eat, right? We all eat stuff with seeds in it. And think about how many seeds. There's so many seeds. You get a strawberry. Strawberry is a bad example because it's all on the outside and usually eat all of that. But most things have seeds. Okay, you eat it, or okay, let's stick with the strawberry example. You eat a strawberry. You leave a little bit of the skin off of it, just a little bit, just a tiny little bit. That'll have like 5 or 6 seeds in it, and just throw it somewhere. No, you've planted seeds on the planet, and you just left a little bit of your strawberry off, just a little bit.
So tell me, Sarah, what is your plan to eradicate poverty?
I throw seeds everywhere. I keep a bag of seeds with me all the time. Usually they're in my pockets, but I just washed these, so I don't have any with me. When I was in San Francisco, I saw it. Like, I saw so much homelessness. And it was like, what do we do about this? Mm-hmm. And I don't know. I didn't know what I could do, but all I could imagine was, what if everybody could eat? I could see it everywhere. I could see food growing everywhere, and the food growing everywhere eliminated the people on the streets in these terrible living conditions. And it was like, I'm gonna go buy a bunch of seeds.
Yeah.
And so I did. I bought a bunch of seeds, and I just started walking through parks and just throwing seeds everywhere.
Yeah.
Like, are they gonna grow anytime soon? I have no idea. I don't have a clue. But I know I've grown a lot of food. I have grown a lot of food already, like in gardens and stuff like that. And it is amazing how much nature does not need us. Life likes to live. We don't need to water it every day.
One of the principles that I live by is that nature is abundant, right? And so if you give to nature will give back. So we're just planting the seeds within this conversation, within this community, to talk about, some ideas as to, obviously this is just one conversation, and this is a deeper issue, and it's a complex problem, and there's so many facets that we can discuss, but we're just opening the conversation, and we're planting the seeds from a dose of positivity. Okay, so one idea out of the millions of ideas on how we can dismantle poverty, the loop of poverty, and to create an abundant economy is to create an abundance of food. So how do you create an abundance of food? One idea that we've talked about today with Sarah is to plant seeds.
Or just throw them outside.
And just
don't throw them in the trash can. Just throw them outside.
Where seeds are planted, food grows. And the other idea, one option you can do is go out to your local community. Like, look at your neighborhood. See if you can get some of your neighbors together. And maybe you guys can co-create a garden and start gardening together and create food together.
That's
right?
massive bonds of community right there. Food brings people together and creates bonds kind of like nothing else.
Exactly. Show me the food.
Yeah, well, show up.
We'll be there. Give us a call. Send us a DM.
Yeah.
Let us know what you think. And this is all about positivity. This is all about being the change in the world that you want to see. This is not about haters talking about, well, this is like a simplistic, idealistic version of what to do. This is just one example, okay? We're going to come together with a variety of people, and we're going to dig deep. We're going to start the conversation. We're going to create the community, and we're going to plant the seeds on how to dismantle the loop of poverty and how to create an abundant, utopic society. So if you want to join in the conversation, please feel free to click subscribe, enjoy a cup of coffee, and thanks for being here with us.
Cheers.
Cheers!
I love you too. I love you so much too.
Join the abundant economy. We want to thrive together.